the Detroit Lions gave Jared freaking Goff a 4-year extension worth $212 million total. That's $53 million per season for Jared Goff, who is not bad. He's a good quarterback, but he's definitely not great. What do you think of this move for the Lions and what it means for the Niners?
Okay, let's divide it in half. First, the Lions. Let me ask you a question, Iggy. Does this make him the highest paid quarterback?
Not quite. Joe Burrow's making $55 million a year. I think he's right below that.
So he's right below Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's compare Jared Goff to Joe Burrow. Are they on the same level?
Not even close.
Not even close. Joe Burrow is a gorgeous quarterback, Iggy. What he did to the Niners last season, wow. I mean, he couldn't miss. Didn't he, something like 15 passes in a row he connected?
Yeah,
something like
that happened.
Yeah, I mean, he is a gorgeous quarterback. And here's the thing about Jared Goff, because I've thought about this a lot. And I think about boxing, and it applies in boxing. There are certain boxers who do well when everything's going well.
Yep.
And then when the other guy lands a good shot or fights back a little, the guy who was doing well, or he gets a cut, all of a sudden he doesn't do well anymore.
Yeah.
That's Jared Goff. He's a very good first half quarterback. But as the game goes on and you really need him to take more and more responsibility, he shrivels.
Yes,
he's a shriveler.
He's a shriveler.
He's a shriveler.
Yeah.
So first of all,
shrinkage.
What I think, he's got shrinkage. So what I feel is that the Detroits, boy, did they make a mistake.
Yes.
They made a mistake. The idea that they think this guy is worth that kind of money and that they're going to win a Super Bowl with that guy, it shows a complete lack of looking in the mirror and knowing who you are and what you need. So a big raspberry.
Will the Lions ever win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff making that kind of money?
They won't win a Super Bowl with him making any kind of money.
Thank you.
With that kind of money, they'll have to scrimp on other positions. So it's a horribly bad deal that they made. Now, more important to our viewers, what implications does this have for Purdy and the 49ers? Purdy right now, he makes nothing, right? My mother would say he makes Gurnish, nothing.
He makes Heikak
Veblach. So what eventually would happen is his guy will start negotiating and say, well, Jared Goff, we have better numbers than him. We're a better player. We get further in the playoffs and all of this stuff. We want $55 million a year because that's the going rate. Yeah, and it's a fair point to make. Our kid has fabulous numbers. He's a leader. He's phenomenal. We want $50 million a year for 4 years.
Jalen Hurts is making $51 million a year. Lamar Jackson's making 52, and Jared Goff's making 53. So Purdy's going to want 54 at least.
Yeah, we want to be. I'm an elite quarterback like that. Iggy, pretend you're the general manager of the 49ers. They come to you with that kind of a demand. With all honesty, our guy is really good. We want $54 million a year for 4 years. What do you say to his representative?
No.
Yeah. Boy, am
absolutely not.
Yeah. No. In addition, take a hike.
No.
Take a hike. Because in this world, you are not worth $54 million a year. No. And what's more, if we pay you that, we won't have as good a team on defense. We'll have to weaken on defense, and the offensive line will be even worse. So I would say no, absolutely no. It's not a good deal for us. Then the representative says, so what are you going to do? Iggy, you be the GM. I'm the agent. If you don't give us $54 million, we're eventually going to walk. What are you going to do for a quarterback?
Okay, look, since we're so generous and we're player friendly, you're welcome to call around the league and see if you can find a team that would like to give us 2 first-round picks and give you $55 million, you find that team. We don't think that team exists. We think every team in the league thinks we can get the most out of your client because we have Kyle Shanahan and this team that we have currently constructed. So go ahead, try to find that trade that doesn't exist. And in the meantime, you are under contract through 2025. So you can play on that. And then when you're done with that, making $2 million, we can give you the franchise tag and you can make a lot of money for 1 year on that. But $55 million a year? No. Absolutely not. We would rather trade you.
And what's more, we found you at the bottom of the heap. We can find somebody else. You're not the only one. We can find somebody else. That's how I would tell him.
Absolutely.
Now,
Dad,
Iggy.
I'm not saying Baker Mayfield is as good as Brock Purdy, but I think a quarterback like Baker Mayfield would have a lot of success on the 49ers. And I think you could say that about maybe 25 players.
Maybe I couldn't say 25, but I do think he's replaceable in that system.
Yes.
And nor do I think he would be as good in other systems because he doesn't have the arm for it. But for what Kyle Shanahan wants, I'm not putting him down. I love to watch him work. I do. I love to watch him work. I'm not putting him down, but I'm not signing him $54 million. Iggy, now I'm asking you, again, you're the general manager. What, aside from the fact that it would weaken the team because you couldn't pay for other positions, why is he in and of himself not worth $54 million a season for 4 seasons?
Because he's not a great quarterback. He's a good quarterback, maybe a very good quarterback. But we've seen it over the years. Kirk Cousins has been getting a ton of money. He's not a great quarterback. He's a very good quarterback, and he's done nothing in the playoffs because his team is compromised. He makes too much money, and he can't make up the difference. You know who can make up the difference? Patrick Mahomes. He makes $45 million. Mahomes makes $45 million a year. How are you going to win with Purdy making $55 million a year? You can't beat the Mahomes with Purdy making $900K. So no, absolutely not. The way the Niners are set up, they're set up for a young quarterback on a rookie deal to have success if he's experienced, or a veteran who's cheap. But they don't even pass the ball enough to justify spending this much on a quarterback. They don't.
That's the key. They're they throw among the fewest passes in the league. They're not built that way. So you don't pay a guy who's not going to throw that many passes that kind of money. And Iggy, I want to say one other thing. I'm going to go to Mahomes because he's the best. The Chiefs could be having a crummy game, like in the Super Bowl. Mahomes is the kind of player who can win the game himself. Now, he doesn't play defense, so I'm talking offense. But he can win the game himself. He can overcome a crummy team, a crummy game, and a crummy game plan. Brock Purdy can't do it. You're paying a premium for people who can win on their own. Burrow, maybe the guy up in Buffalo, Josh Allen. There are a few like that. But Brock Purdy, it cannot win on his own. No. If you take the running back away, CMC, he's probably not going to win that game.
No, and what's interesting, he had that 3-game losing streak in the middle of the season. He didn't have Trent Williams. He didn't have Deebo Samuel. He lost 3 games in a row. Now, those are 2 very good players, but he still had Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle. 3 All-Pros, and they couldn't crack 20 points in any of those games. That's alarming.
So, look, I don't think he's worth that kind of money. And I love your idea. Go shop your guy around, see what you get. We're willing to make him wealthy for 2 lifetimes. Sure. We're going to pay him a lot of money, but we won't pay him what they're paying Patrick Mahomes. No way.
That's fair. Instead of saying like just go look for a trade, you can make him an offer. Here's a 4-year extension worth $40 million a year. 40. It's still nauseating to even offer that much, but it's not as much as Patrick Mahomes, and it's about $15 million less than what you might think you can get on the open market. If you want all the money you can probably get, go ask some crap team like the Titans to give it for you, and you can go play for them and suck the rest of your career. But if you want to win, you're going to have to take a little bit less and be content with making $40 million a year. What do you think?
It's interesting is I'd give him 35.
I like it. I like it.
I'd
Let's
give him
see who's making
35.
$35 million a year right now. Nick Bosa's making 34. Aaron Rodgers making 37 a year. Derek Carr 37. Daniel Jones 40. Dak Prescott 40. Stafford 40. Josh Allen 43. Yeah, I think 35 is fair. How about you make the same as Nick Bosa? You guys both make 34.
Yeah, I'd pay him 30. I mean, listen, 34 million. You say, oh, 34 million, it's not a lot. You don't want it, I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
it's a
I'll
lot
set up
for
my
Bosa.
grandchildren. I'll set you up for life. Are you kidding me? Here's what I want to do, Iggy. Let's name the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't think Purdy's going to make it. I think he's going to be one level below. But let's go slowly and name. Could we go back and forth and name elite quarterbacks and keep track of how many we have?
Yeah,
I'll start with Patrick Mahomes.
certainly. Josh Allen.
Burrow is 3.
Herbert.
Herbert is 4.
Let's.
Okay. So at the best, Brock Purdy is number 5, which is great. Is there anybody better than him that would slip into number 5?
Well, there was the MVP of the league last year, Lamar Jackson, who destroyed Purdy and the 49ers. I don't know if he didn't do great he lost to the Chiefs. So did Purdy. There's also Matthew Stafford, who won a Super Bowl.
I would put Stafford ahead of him. Yeah. I don't like Lamar Jackson. As I've said, I think he's a great football player, but a mediocre quarterback. So I have really trouble putting
mediocre at best in the playoffs. So there's something to that.
I don't like him. I don't like the guy in Philly. I think he's been exposed. I don't like him.
Dak,
I don't like
no.
I don't like, and so far I have Purdy at 6. I want to put in 2 others: the guy in Houston and the guy in Green Bay.
In Green Bay. Yep, agree. Yep.
I think they may be at the same level as Purdy, but may have more potential.
I would agree.
But I would group them as we have the top 5. I would group these 3 in the next 3 in any order you want. Now that's pretty darn.
Those like the young quarterbacks who have the ability to maybe become elite one day. But of all those 3, I feel like Stroud and Love, maybe I don't know football, they have the talent to get there, whereas Purdy is going to be tough for him to get better than he already is. Is that controversial to say?
No, I think it's fair, and I agree with you. And where he already is, let's be real clear. The Cohns are haters. He's wonderful. I love to watch him work.
Extremely advanced. I mean, he plays the position like he's in his 30s.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I would be really happy to have him at the right price, which is a big, big price. But he may not be as good as these other 2 young players from Green Bay and Houston, but he's with them right now. So he's at least in the top 8 quarterbacks in the league, Iggy. That's pretty good.
It's extremely good. I would think so. Now he's got another year to prove it and stay healthy and keep it going. But so far, after a season and a half, I think you could confidently place him in the top 10.
Okay. I have another topic that comes off of that. I want everybody to remember that there was a time in sports with no free agency. When I was growing up, Mickey Mantle played for the Yankees his whole life, his whole baseball life, I should say. And he didn't make the kind of money that they make now. I mean, Hank Aaron, he was with the Braves. There wasn't free agency. And there was a big deal. Players should have free agency. They're not indentured servants. And of course, that's a fair argument. I don't dispute it. But here's what I do say. Free agency has never helped fans.
Yeah.
Because if we're talking about $54 million for Brock Purdy, how much do tickets cost? Yeah. When I was a kid, when I was a kid and used to go to New York Knickerbocker games at the Old Garden, I used to get in for like $2.50. And it would be a doubleheader. You know what I mean? A doubleheader on a Sunday afternoon. I was a kid. Now, didn't it? I was on the train with my sister going to No, I was with my friend Stewie. We were going from his house on Long Island into the New York City. The Knicks had a game, and we were sitting next to some older guy, younger than me, wearing Knicks shirt and all that. I asked him, "How much does a ticket cost for this game?" He said, "Courtside, $11,000. $11,000. That's free agency. You're paying for these salaries. How does that help that guy? How does that help a normal person
Yeah.
see a sporting event? I saw
Yeah.
it for $2.50 with my Midwood High School card. I got
Yeah.
a break, and I saw a doubleheader. So anyway, I am not against free agency, but I don't see how it's helped any fan. Now remember, I never paid for a ticket. They paid me to go to games, so
That's
it's
true.
not personal. But I think it's the idea that we're talking about $54 million a season for Brock Purdy. Joe Montana never made that. He's a
Yeah.
better quarterback.
Yeah, 54. And he didn't make like the equivalent of $54 million a season in 1987. He didn't. The idea
No.
that that's what you get rewarded with for playing well for a year and a half. Well, I hope it works out.